Hello, everybody. It's Robin Ware, and I am so super excited that I am back with another edition of Let's Talk Church. It's been a minute since I've been on, and some of you all have reached out and checked on me, and I so appreciate that. You all know, of course, I lost my father in June, and so the holidays can be a difficult time for those of us that have lost loved ones. And so you've been checking on me since I haven't been online, but I promise you, I'm coming back now more on a regular schedule. Mom Ware and I are doing extremely well. So, with that said, I got a very special show for you all today that I'm going to introduce two of my really good friends that are doing some amazing work in the kingdom right after this intro. So, as you can see, I have got some company with me. I am so super excited. Before we get started, though, of course, thank you for hanging out with me right here on YouTube. If you would please make sure you subscribe to my channel and then hit that bell so that you receive an alert whenever I go live. Well, let's get into it. As I shared, of course, we lost my dad in June and it was very difficult, but I definitely know where he is. And so I can celebrate in knowing that I'm going to see him again. Well, it's the holidays, and a lot of people, they may not be there just yet, as to where I'm saying with being able to be comfortable in knowing that I know where my dad is. So I'm going to see him. So today I've got two experts on with me that are going to share about grief and counseling and kind of what happens during this season and how we can make sure that some of you all that might feel yourself going left and getting stuck, these two are going to help you become unstuck. So let's see, to my left we've got well, let me do ladies first. To my right, all right, we have got the beautiful Brittany Phillips. I was going to say Brittany Trent Phillips. That is so funny. Brittany Phillips is on. Hello there, Britt.
Hey, Robin, how are you?
Let me say Brittany. I got to be formal, right? We know
It's
each
okay.
other, so I'm calling her Britt. But hello, Brittany. Glad to have you on, ma'am.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Good stuff. And then we've got, I hope this is right, to my left, we've got, I call him Prophet Joshua Smith, but Joshua Smith is with us. Hello there, sir.
Hey, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here.
That is so good. Of course, we are going to talk about a few things. Let me pull up my notes here so that I make sure I stay on course. This of being the one of the things that I do before we start talking about the holidays. I'm a coach, and so I love helping people. I love helping them monetize their gifts, their callings, and even what they've been anointed to do. I know some people think that's kind of bad, but I don't think it's bad. I believe the scriptures, and the scriptures say that God gives us the ability to create wealth, and I believe that that wealth can be generated tons of ways. And so if I'm able to figure out how to do that and monetize it, I think that the scriptures are true. So I have actually worked with both Brittany and Joshua, and so they're doing some amazing things. But I have had people say to me that they don't want to launch, they don't want to write their book, or they don't want to start speaking because it's been done before. So I've kind of named that it's been done before syndrome. Have you guys ever heard anybody say that, Britt?
Oh, yeah. I think I've said it before.
You said it. What about you, Joshua?
I've said it, but not quite in that way. So that's kind of a Robin touch, maybe.
Right, exactly. So, talk about why we have to destroy this syndrome and some of the processes to get behind it. Brittany, you can share your credentials so they know why exactly you're qualified to even talk about this.
Sure. So, yeah, I'm Brittany Phillips, and I'm a licensed professional counselor here in Atlanta, Georgia. And I specialize in working with people who have experienced maybe some traumatic things in their background, who struggle with anxiety, depression, and grief and loss. And I think I see a lot of this kind of like failure to launch and not wanting to walk out in our purpose because we feel like other people are doing it. And for me, that is so detrimental just to our existence and who God has created us to be because we see somebody else doing it. And I think it kind of boils down, if we kind of pull all the layers back and we get down to it, to me, it comes with a lack of identity and kind of really knowing who we are and what we've been called to do. So oftentimes we see somebody else doing something and we're like, oh, well, they do it better than I do, or they have more experience. I know I've said that myself, like they have more experience, or they have a doctorate degree and I don't. And we don't really tap into our identity and the skills and the tools that we have. And so that's when I see some of us falling into the trap of the syndrome that you said, like it's already been done. I can't do that. So that's kind of what I would start out saying. I would love to hear other thoughts on that.
I always tell them when I'm coaching them, that's just an excuse.
Mm.
It's been done before. An excuse is nothing more than a crutch.
Mm-hmm.
An excuse is a crutch for someone. I got to think of the right way to say it. I heard this and I've loved it. An excuse is nothing but a crutch for the uncommitted. There we go. An excuse is nothing but a crutch for the uncommitted. And that's how I feel about it. What do you think, Joshua?
I think Brittany really hit it on the head. It's really about identity. That's one of the things that we can look at. Confidence comes in that healing process. It comes in being able to know who you are and being able to say that even if there are 1,000 people doing this, I know who I am and I know what I bring to the table. And no one can do what I do like I do what I do when I do what I do.
All right.
And so once you become healed or you get on that healing journey, then you kind of lose that sense of, and it takes time, it is process, it is work. You lose that sense of inadequacy and that doubt about yourself because it's really you hiding behind insecurities and inadequacies. And I will echo what Brittany said as well. I've been there. I've done that. Sometimes that still comes up in my mind. It's kind of like a trigger. Like when I see someone that's really doing it, they're really blazing, they're doing what seems to be better than me. That's like a trigger for me. And so I literally have to kind of sit with myself and
Yes.
process through and work through it. Because if I don't, then my own insecurities, and we all have them,
Yes.
but my own insecurities will start rising up. And I'm really big on affirmations because I believe that affirmations really speak to your core beliefs. And sometimes we have these core beliefs from childhood. And you kind of have to ask yourself, well, what was I told as a child and who kind of impacted me in what way? And so I'm really a firm believer in affirmations because it gives you a chance to take control of your identity again and really start speaking to yourself and telling yourself who you are and building up yourself. And so it's really, like she said, about identity and that inadequacy.
I love
Can I jump in off of that, Robin?
Yes.
I love what you said, Joshua, because I was getting ready to say that just shows like we're kindred spirits and minds think alike. But that those negative core beliefs, I think sometimes our identity can get lost in what other people say about us. We kind of tune out what God says about us or even what we say about ourselves, and we listen to what other people say about us. And so you may have friends or loved ones saying, oh, so-and-so's already done that. You shouldn't waste your money launching that idea or launching that business. It's already been done. But what does God say about you? Like, what has he created? What are your passions? What are you passionate about? And kind of going back to some of those childhood messages that, like you said, that you received. If it's been told to you over and over again that you're not good enough, or you'll be just like your daddy, or you'll be just like your mom. You need to just go to college and get a degree and get a 9-to-5. But what are those passions that you can't stop dreaming about? Starting to get around people who speak life into you and speak to God's identity about you, I think is going to help you move past and start doing some healing. Like Joshua said, it's an ongoing work that we have to be a part of, and it's ongoing healing process. And I'm sure we'll get into talking about counseling a little bit, but it's a lifelong process that I'm still kind of building and learning and unlearning some things about myself.
The Bible teaches us, and we're all Bible readers, right? The Bible teaches us that there's nothing new under the sun. So there's no reason for me to get stuck in the fact that somebody else has written a book on my particular topic.
Right.
There's an audience, I believe it. There's an audience that God has assigned that needs to hear my voice. We, of
Yeah.
course, say again in church that my sheep, they hear my voice, right? And a stranger, they won't follow. It's the same thing, even in business, even in the audience that you've curated for what it is you're to do. So anyway, I won't start preaching, but let's keep going. That was really, really good.
Yeah.
Let's jump to the next one. So confidence comes from liking the way you look, not from you looking any certain kind of way. You know, one of the things that social media has done, it has opened the floodgates for any and everybody to have a platform. And so a lot of the Instagram models, they have these huge followings. And so if you're not a size 2 and you don't have hair weave to the floor, you know, you feel like, oh my God, you know, I don't have the confidence because I don't look like that. So I'm not attracting those numbers and, you know, the affirmations. Well, I won't say affirmations, but I'll say the attention that comes from that. You're down on yourself. But I want you guys, you know, to speak on the revelation that confidence comes from you liking who you are and not, you know, who you think in your mind you need to be. Joshua?
Yeah. So I say this often, that healing happens from the inside out, not the outside in. And so it goes right back somewhat to the last question, and the way that that was answered about identity, about even self-esteem and uniqueness, and what you mentioned about validation. And so the answer is really in the question. If we're looking for people on the outside of us to speak to us and determine our worth and determine our value, then we'll always be searching, right? We'll always be seeking, and then we will sometimes get rejected. And so it creates a cycle of us continuing to seek affirmation, seek validation, and we don't get that from people, and we get rejected, and there's the cycle again. And so the benefit really comes when we do the inner work and we really work on
Yeah,
ourselves, and then that will just come out. It will come from the inside out. Right. And we won't be looking outside of us. And I always say, never let people that did not create you define you.
that's good.
So if you're looking for people that didn't create you, you're going to people that didn't create you to give you validation, because affirmation is just encouragement. Validation means I'm looking to you for my identity. I'm
Then
looking for you to tell me who I am, and you can't tell me who I am because you didn't form me in my mother's womb. And so if I'm looking to you for that, then I'm always going to be in a cycle. I'm always going to be stuck. And like it's like if I go to I have an Apple phone, I do, but if I go to Samsung, Android to get instructions, directions on how to fix an Apple, they can't tell me how to fix it because they didn't make it.
right.
And so I think that's what we do sometimes in our life. We go to people looking for them to validate us and give us, you know, a certain level of instruction that only God can give us that. Like He created us and not we ourselves.
Well,
And so we have to
let's help
go
some
ahead.
people, Brittany. Let's help some people on the same vein, though. You know, again, we're all big social media people, and I find, in my opinion, my humble opinion, I'm not the therapist, you all are, but in my opinion, people that overly share, people that have to go live all the time, they have to post every single move that they're doing. I believe part of that is they lack confidence, that they
Mhm.
need that validation. And so,
Yeah.
one of the things as a coach that I tell my students is you can be busy without showing yourself being busy. It
Mm.
sends the wrong message. It sends other potential clients. She's too busy because she's always posting that she's doing this and she's doing that. Of course,
Mm.
people for personal reasons, they do it. Kind of help, you know, help us with some steps so that we can, you know, stop that whole comparison thing and
Yeah.
confidence thing from going online too much and posting all the time.
Yeah, I think I would ask myself the question, what's my goal in posting this? Like, what do I hope the outcome is going to be? Am I doing this because I am looking for some affirmation or for people to say, oh my gosh, she's doing so well? Am I doing this because I am trying to promote something? Am I posting this because I want to get somebody's attention? Am I sending a subliminal message to somebody? What is my goal for posting and really be honest with yourself and say, what am I hoping to get from this post? Is it likes? Is it more followers? Is it more shares? Is it to promote this event that I'm having? Or is it just to be visible? Like you said, get that affirmation and validation, getting underneath, like, what is that? And for some people, it's an unmet need that's being fulfilled. So maybe you don't get affirmation. Maybe you don't get validation. Maybe you never get told, oh my God, girl, your hair is so cute. So you post a pic, you post all the time and do different things to receive this feedback to make yourself feel better. But we all know that that's very short lasting, right?
Yes.
When it comes from the outside and it's not coming from within, it fades away, just kind of rolls off like water on a duck's back. But we really need to get underneath, what is our goal? What is our motivation for this post?
Yes.
And if it is to meet some of those unmet needs, what are some healthier ways that we can meet those needs within ourselves? Because posting to get validation from other people is not the most healthy and pro-social way, because we know that only leads to more things that can be even more detrimental. We start to get into some addictive behaviors that we could see. So I would say really find out what your motivation and your goal is for that post and be honest with yourself about that. And if it's for some other motives, find other healthier ways to meet that need.
You know, I was reading this article about Facebook. You know, Facebook likes, that feature's only been available in like the last 4 years or something, right? And they initially created it so that, thinking that the users, the friends that the user had on their timeline would like their, you know, their comment or page just as a, you know, I support you. Having no idea it was going to turn into people wigging out over, you know, my post didn't get likes. And so that means I'm not valuable. And that
Yeah.
just blows my mind. I can't tell you what numbers my posts get because I don't care. You know what I care is when I get my my ding on my phone that says I got money.
Right.
You know, because I'm in business, so I'm not out here for popularity. You know, and so I'll be honest with you, because I'm human. I've seen some people online that I've been a little intimidated by their success because it looked quick. You know, I'm like, I've been out here, you know, beating this drum for a long time, and
Yeah.
I stopped following them. I
Yes.
did. I said, I'm not going to fall in that cycle of comparison,
Yes.
because that is a trick of the enemy. And so until I get to the point, and y'all help me with this, but until I get to the point that I could celebrate their success, I pulled back.
Mm-hmm.
I think
That's
that's
my
so
mind
healthy.
right. Go ahead, Britt.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I
Yeah.
think that's healthy. I tell clients that deal with like body image issues and they follow all these Instagram models and people that your figure's never gonna look like that. Like, let's just be honest. You can lose all the
Yeah.
weight, but that's not how you're going to look. So I tell
Right.
unfollow the things that bring you negative feelings. If it doesn't make you feel
Good.
good, unfollow it. And it's okay. That's not you not being, oh, I'm not strong enough to see it. No, you're doing what you need to do to take care of your own mental health. And if that doesn't bring me a sense of peace or a sense of a confidence, like, oh, I'm on the right track, unfollow it. You don't need that in your
Mhm.
life.
Yeah, it's a trigger. It's a trigger, and the triggers that you cannot manage, I tell people avoid those triggers.
Good.
And so, if that is causing you some mental distress, even anxiety, depression, then you're within your right to protect your mental health. Because what you are doing is you're comparing yourself. And we can pull in scripture. If we compare ourselves to ourselves, we are unwise. Comparison is the enemy to creativity. And so if you feel that triggering you, then that is a time to step back. And like Brittany said, that is perfectly healthy to do that.
All right, let's shift gears a little bit here. Again, being transparent. I went to a counselor one season in my life because I needed some help processing what was going on. You know, yeah, strong, successful Robin, but I needed help. It was what it was. You know, I wasn't sleeping well. I was losing weight. Lord knows I was glad to be losing weight, but I didn't want to be losing weight for the wrong reason, right? So I got some help. But the first counselor I went to was absolutely boring. So I did get to one though that I clicked with. So can you guys give us, as counselors and therapists, can you give us like kind of a little checklist that we should consider when seeking out or hiring a counselor? Brittany?
I think it's so subjective. I don't know if I can give you a checklist because it really is based off of personality. I always
Yeah.
suggest, though, for that clients give their therapist at least 4 sessions. The first session, you're just getting to know each other. The second session, you're still kind of doing that exploratory phase. I say give it at least a month of 4 sessions back to back to see if you click with that person. I think after 4, you can say, yeah, we're not really clicking or gelling, and then switch to find somebody else.
Wait a
But
minute,
what,
Brian, bring me back. Bring me back.
uh-oh.
So you mean I needed to sleep through 4 sessions with this woman?
Well,
Brittany,
I mean,
Brittany.
when you say boring, okay, so let me ask you, what do you mean the session she was boring? What do
That's
you,
very subjective.
right?
Oh,
What
okay. Y'all take it up for your peers. I get it.
saying? Some people might have said I was boring the first time, but I mean, I don't know.
When I say she was boring, I knew from our first encounter that this wasn't going to go well. She was very just dry. She wasn't animated. I'm very animated. You all know that about me, right?
Yeah.
And then she was a Christian counselor. She never opened the Bible one time. So I was like, okay, my mantra is let the word do the work. So I need you to be using some scripture to help a girl out. And that just wasn't her thing. She drank her coffee and maybe she took a note or two, but I was like, this is not the one for me. Whereas the
So
one
you only
that
went to one session?
I went to two,
Okay.
I went to two.
Half.
But the one that worked, when I went to her, even her office was light. The lighting was really good. It was bright. Things like that aesthetically mattered to
Yeah.
me. And so and of course the conversation was livelier. And I don't know, her methods may have been different. I don't know, because I don't get into all that. But Joshua, if I went to him, he's very serious and stoic. I'd probably be like deuces, but he's probably what I need.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yes.
you're gonna break through that, what you might call a facade, to help me really get to the nitty gritty. So okay, all right, go. You can take me off screen, Brian.
No, I'll let Joshua answer, but I think that's so true. It's a trial and error, and sometimes you do know. I went to
Yeah.
a therapist, and I know I personally didn't give her a chance. Me and my husband went together, and we left. We were like, we're not going back there because it was like you just know when you know. But I do suggest giving it a couple of sessions and try it out and see. And I always suggest doing a phone consultation. Most therapists offer a complimentary 15-minute consultation, so you can kind of get a feel and a vibe for how they talk, their pacing, their tempo. Ask them questions. That's your time to interview the therapist. You're the one paying them. So you interview them, ask them what their style is, ask them, their policies and procedures. So you can kind of get a feel before you make a commitment to going to therapy. So those are a couple of suggestions I would have.
All right, I got to move it because I got to watch the time. I know that I promised you guys a certain amount of time. Joshua, I'll let you answer this or speak to this one. We know that the church is a flawed and human institution, right? As anything that is human, we all have ups, we all have downs. But why is it that people give so much ammunition and fire to the church when they experience church hurt? But when they get hurt on their jobs or in a relationship, they're not trying to quit their job. And the relationship they probably should quit, but they don't. They stick it out because I'm going to give it another chance. But I'm just blown away as church people that we walk around with all this church hurt instead of trying to seek someone like you guys to help us process through the lesson that may be in that situation for us to learn. So speak to that for me, Joshua.
Well, that is a question that is one for the ages. I really don't have a definitive answer to why people do that, because as you said, we get hurt kind of everywhere that we go, and we're able to kind of deal with that and process through that. I think what it boils down to really, though, is expectations. People have certain expectations of the church as an institution, as a gathering, and it's not always realistic. And I can't really speak to everyone's individual expectations, but that's kind of what I've seen. People have these certain expectations. But what I would say, even to the expectations, is that the church is, of course, not a building, it is the people. And anytime there are more than two people gathered together, there are going to be hurts, there are going to be offenses, you're going to get wounded. The church is kind of like Noah's Ark, like we're all in this together.
Yes.
We all have issues. The ark is messy, like your mess is in here, my mess is in here. But guess what? We're in here together. Even in the book of Acts, Acts 2, I believe it's 47, it says something very powerful that we often miss. It says that God added souls to the church daily. He didn't add spirits, he added souls. And so a soul is your mind, it's your will, it's your emotions, it's your personality. It's your human nature. And so when God added souls to the church, that means that he added individuals to the church. We all have different minds. We all have different mindsets. We all have different emotions. We all have different trauma histories. We all have different issues. And then we have leaders that have to manage all of these souls. And so we're like all in this together with all of these issues. And we just have to work it out. We have to plow through it. And the church is not even a hospital. We've said that for years. I don't believe that the church is a hospital as much as it should be a wound care center.
Yes.
Because we all come in wounded.
Yes.
And churches also, on the other hand, should not be a toxic place. Like it should be a place that you are intentionally wounded or re-wounded. And so we need to address the toxic culture that some churches have as well. But we shouldn't run every time that we get hurt and offended, because it's supposed to be a family. And when you're family and you're in covenant, you don't just up and walk away. When you're offended and when you're hurt, you stay and you work through it. And I believe that's why we are seeing this rise in even counselors and therapists being in the church and being on staff, having counseling ministries, so we can kind of mediate some of these issues. But it's an arc. It's a messy arc. We're all here together. We're all our mess.
All of our mess. All right. So I'm going to shift and let's talk about some boss moves. I am a proponent of entrepreneurship and for people pursuing their dreams. So right after this intro, we're going to talk boss moves with Brittany Phillips. All right, Brittany, you got some things going on. We are so excited. 2020, of course, has been a little different. But those of us that saw what was happening and made a shift, we are coming out, for the better, if you ask me. So you talk and share what you've been doing in 2020 as it relates to boss moves.
Absolutely. So yeah, I have a Phillips Psychotherapy is my private practice, and that's where I see individual clients, and thankfully I can say I am booked. Still check out the website and I can get you great referrals, but 2020 has been filled with so much grief and trauma that I think all therapists around are seeing their books fill up and their clientele go up. And so that's where I service individual clients. I work with adolescents and adults around issues of anxiety, depression, grief and loss, and those who've had some traumatic experiences in their life. And so my business has just been growing and expanding, and I'm so grateful for that. And I think it spilled over into this year. I started that last year, and this year realizing that there has been such a need for more public awareness, especially in the faith-based community, about mental health, and to have discussions about mental health, that I launched a consulting business called B Consulting Group, along with my partner Emily Anderson. And so our tagline is developing trauma. Thank you. Our tagline is developing trauma-informed leaders, and we want to do that in all sectors. So not just in the faith-based community, but in schools and in industry, so that any space that you walk into, how do we have leaders and people that are equipped to handle everyone that comes to the door with different life experiences? And I think the church is a perfect space for that, because we have so many people, like Joshua just said, so many people that walk in wounded. And so we need to develop leaders that are equipped to handle every life experience that we see. So that's a little bit about the business that we have.
Good stuff. So how can people connect with you again? Give your website and your social media.
Absolutely. So on social media, it is Brittany at Brittany Antoinette on Instagram. And for my website, it is phillipspsychotherapy.com.
All right, good stuff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so, right in that same vein, I'm excited about this segment. I have got, as a meeting and event planner, I love events. That's why a lot of what I do when I say let's talk church, I want to talk about conferences and events. And so, for this next segment, I'm excited that Joshua's got an event that he is going to share with us. So, after this little quick intro, Joshua will be back with you to talk about your soul healing event. All right, share the great news about this wonderful event with the people.
Well, I am very excited. Of course, everything mostly is virtual now. And so I wanted to be able to have something to meet the needs of individuals virtually as it related to their mental and emotional health. I've been doing mental health summits and retreats and seminars and workshops since 2015. And so I didn't want to let 2020 go out without addressing that need. And so for that reason, we created the Soul Healing Virtual Mental Health Strategies Summit. There's no other summit like this going on. And so we're going to be having this premiering on this Friday and Saturday, December 4th and the 5th. I'm excited that even Brittany is going to be speaking. She's going to be talking about anxiety. So I was just more than honored to get on her booked up schedule and get her on and all of these other wonderful therapists. We're going to have sessions on relational intelligence, sessions on depression, trauma, anxiety, grief, and a whole lot of other things. I'm very excited about it. And so it will be premiering the 4th and the 5th. But for all registrants, this content will be on demand for an entire year.
That is great stuff. I absolutely love that. Yay, we're giving you some love there. So that's
Thank you.
December
Thank you.
4th and 5th. And of course,
Yes.
give your website. And you didn't really get to give your credentials as to who you are and what you do. So do that. I want to give you that shameless plug. And then, of course, give the website where people can register for the event.
Yes. So I'm emotional health expert, certified mental health therapist here in the state of Mississippi, and I've been in the mental health field now for 12 years, specializing in grief, trauma, anxiety, and depression. I absolutely love what I do, and I've been able to take that over into the faith space and help leaders to heal and to integrate programs into their churches to do the same thing. And so I'm absolutely excited to be living my purpose to help people heal, help people live emotionally healthy, whole, and free. If you want to register for the summit, you can go to either of my websites, www.thejoshuasmith.com or soul-healing.org. And you will see the flyer there. Just click it, one-click registration.
All right. I love it. Thank you so much. Well, this has been amazing. Again, so glad to have you all as my guest. Now, I want my listening audience to be open as you're preparing and planning your events for 2021. Yes, we all know how to, we need to learn how to pray. We need to learn how to be more hospitable. You all know I'm the customer service queen, but we also need some sessions on mental health. So I want to encourage you to consider and invite my two special guests, Brittany Phillips and Joshua Smith, for any of your upcoming events. They, of course, will do private sessions, even with your staff or your leadership team. Consider that. Think out of the box, because we're nothing if we don't have our mental health. I was telling somebody with 2020 and this whole pandemic, and we've not been able to be in church. Of course, I missed the fellowship one with another, but I even missed some of the crazy folk. But see, but I want those crazy folk to get some healing, right? I want them to get some deliverance and some skills so that they won't be just crazy all the time. Now y'all know at your church you got those crazy folk that Don't let me go to the right because I'm gonna run into so and so. And they little cuckoo for cocoa puffs.
Challenged.
I knew. Look, the counselor in him is coming out. He doesn't want me to say cuckoo for cocoa puffs. All right. They're a little challenged. I didn't mean it like for people that are really ill. I didn't mean that.
Right.
There's some people that I have my moments. People may be like, she cocoa for cuckoo, whatever. But anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out. Of course, I want to encourage you to stay connected to me right there on the screen. It tells you text My last name, Ware to the number 22828. And you will opt into my email list and you'll be able to get information about these events and of course times when I'm going to be going live. I want to thank my producer. He is amazing. The Brian Major. Yes, we're giving him a clap, 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 clap. Yes. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today on Let's Talk Church. God bless you.